Well, it's that time, and it seems like things are going to work today. So that's always good news. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We are here as we are. It seems like every day anymore, which is good. It's been really good. We're We're on our 20th episode of the year, which is pretty cool to do. And we've been building a Alexa trivia game. That's where we're spending all of our time lately. And we would have made some really good progress yesterday, but Twitch decided to crash out and burn. And so we didn't get much of anything done yesterday that we would have liked to have gotten done. So good morning, Jan Blank. I don't have my chatbot running, so I didn't catch that. I'm sorry. I'm going to start that up right now. Good morning, Zach, man. I'm going to have you guys say good morning again here in a second once the bot is running, because you guys have sound effects, and like it's important to get that stuff playing. So give me 1 second here. Just takes a second to boot up. There we go. We're good. So if you want to say hi again, you'll get to hear your intro music. But that is the thing. That's what we're doing is working on this Alexa skill, this trivia game. So where we left off yesterday, well, we just had a bunch of people jump in. I wonder if we just got rated. Cold morning. It is cold here. Not in Florida where you are, though. Here we go. Maybe. Come on.
Mom!
There it is. So I got to turn that volume down a little bit. It was a little quiet a second ago. It is cold here. It's in the teens. It's snowy. Zach, man, let's hear your sound. Maybe it'll be faster about it.
Developers.
There it is. Zach, man, it's working. That's awesome. 40 degrees in Florida. Well, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that it's only 40. Anyway, so we were talking yesterday about achievements, and one of the things that we ran into with this achievement engine is that I had a very, very small bug. And so I'm going to highlight this line of code and show it to you on screen. So it's this line right here, user.fields.answerCount. This was the thing that we got stuck on yesterday. And the reason that we got stuck was because I had typed answered count, which of course is not the same thing and would not work. So I fixed that, and we are working. So our achievement engine was working. It was just that we were referring to a property that didn't exist. And so we ended up in this situation. So we now have achievements for the number of questions you get correct. We also have achievements for just the number of questions that you've answered, which are different, right? You could get a bunch of questions wrong, but we still want to celebrate like, hey, that was your 10th question or your 100th question or whatever. So Karthik with the raid. Good morning, Karthik. Welcome from the gang. Gold Zulu's here. He should get some music here in just a moment. There it is. That's music Gold Zulu wrote, I think. But Karthik will be along in a minute, and the rest of the gang. There's Karthik. We'll hear a little Michael Scott.
No, God, please, no.
There it is.
No.
But anyway, so we have these achievements, and this is kind of what we've been playing with. Good morning, Katal. Do you have sound effect? I don't think you do yet. We're gonna have to get you a sound effect. Bonjour to you. So this is good. This is a start. So the achievement engine as it sits today is working. All we have to do is make sure that we have achievements in the database. Oh my goodness. Doing calendar math or calendar development is one of my least favorite things. I've built many a calendar, especially way back in the early days of the web when you didn't have built-in calendars and you had to kind of construct them yourself. Whoo-wee. I learned a lot about calendar math and structuring things, and Gold Zulu's in a Kubernetes class. Very cool. Well, I'm not in a Kubernetes class. I'm going to be here working on my trivia game. And so I added a couple of things to the data last night. I haven't done anything with the code, but I added a couple things. The first one is that I now have this new value called session count. And session count is meant to keep track of how many different times has the user used my skill as a new session. So one of the things I want to show you with this, Katal loves building calendars. Man, I mean, I don't hate it. It is very interesting and cool and whatever, but there's just so many rules and there's so many ways to break it. And like, it hurts my head to think about the fact that as Karthik, as an example, time zones are weird. He is somehow like 12 hours and 30 minutes ahead of me. Now, I understand how the time zones work, but like it just hurts my head a little bit to think about that he's also that additional 30 minutes ahead. Like at least let the minutes match. But I get why they do it. India is a big country, and you want to space things out. But anyway, that's if you asked me if I had a choice between building a calendar or using a pre-existing one, I would probably always pick the pre-existing one. But maybe only because I've put so much time in previously. Okay, so one of the things that we can see here in our JSON request that comes in is that we have this session new, and it's either true or false. So what I want to do is if I refresh this, and let's go back to here and we'll get our code running. He's ahead of us in so many ways. Very, very true. What I want to be able to do here is open my trivia game, and I should see that my session is new.
This is TKO Trivia, a trivia game with 20 different
Well,
categories
that's
that will
interesting.
knock you out.
I expect this to be true, and it's not. Why is that? Because I'm not looking at the right one. Okay, 2. Session new equals true. This is what I was expecting. What hurts me is about time zone is how when one day ends here, your day's still starting. Like I understand how the other works and stuff, but it always hurts my head. Yeah, I'm with you. Here, you want to? I think I probably mentioned this on here before, but you want one that hurts your head. Think about how big all of the planets are, and then think about the Earth and the Moon. You want to break your brain here? Take all of the planets, include Pluto if you want, and stack them up next to each other like bowling balls or sports balls next to each other. They will all fit between the space that is in between the Earth and the Moon. We could fit every single planet in that gap. What? How? That one destroys me. I can't even for the life of me picture how that could work. I mean, obviously, it couldn't really happen. Gravity and all sorts of things would destroy each other. But the idea that physically they could fit doesn't seem right to me. Like, I am in my head, Jupiter is so big that it would consume both of them, right? Like, I don't know. The gap between the Earth and the Moon could contain all the rest of the planets in our solar system. Wow. That one gets me every time. Okay, so we have this session count, and what I want to be able to do, as we saw here, is when I come into my skill and we have session new equals true, I want to log that in my new user session table. So this user session is going to be a recording of each time that the user has started a new session with my skill. Now, this doesn't always mean that they didn't pick up in the middle of something else or whatever, but this just means that they chose to come back. They ended a session for whatever reason, and then they came back and started another one. So this is when, when the microphone closes, everything goes away, and then they open the skill again, usually with the invocation name. That's what I'm tracking. That's what I want to look at here. And so, Major Lynn. I was reading that and I was like, oh, where's he going with this? Yeah. This is becoming a meme in the channel. I love it. Anyway, that is fixed. Thank you for that. All better. Anyway, so that's fixed. We're on the right channel. So what we want to do is log our sessions. So we have the information we need, right? In our thing, we should be able to say session new is either true or false. And if it's true, then we want to do something. So let's handle that first. That's the first thing that I want to focus on, because that'll unlock a couple of things for me. The first is it will give me my user session so I can see all of the time someone has come in. But it also logs for me the first time that a person has used my skill. So this is a new property that'll be on a user. And then I can say, like, it's been 50 days since the first time you used this, or it's been 100 days or whatever, because I can do calculations off of that date versus today. And it'll excuse me, let me have very, very tired. I mentioned yesterday that I got no sleep on Monday night. I've just been so tired. I just keep waking up. And last night was better. I went and slept in the other room. It's much cooler in there. And I thought I slept better. Apparently no, I'm still yawning. Thoughts on the new Alexa ad, the one with Michael B. Jordan in it? I've only seen a screenshot, but I haven't actually watched it yet. Should we watch it? Just watch it together. It's going to be on during the Super Bowl, but we could do this.
It's just flawless, isn't it? I think so. I mean, I literally couldn't imagine a more beautiful vessel for Alexa to be inside. Alexa, how many tablespoons are in a cup?
There are 16 tablespoons in a cup.
Babe, food just got here. Why are you cooking? Who's that?
Alexa, turn on the sprinklers.
Honey, I already ran the sprinklers. Things are getting way too wet around here.
Alexa, dim the lights.
Alexa, lights up. Alexa, lights up.
Add that oil to my shopping list.
Alexa, no, don't do that.
Read my audiobook.
I was in his hands. I was being changed. I was also kissing him.
Honey, other people have to use the bathroom around here too.
That's pretty funny. I do worry about commercials like that. Only because, like, let's flip that around. Let's make that a dude with some very attractive actress or actor. I feel like that would be like a blatant objectification of that person. But the concept behind it, I think, is funny. I tend not to want to humanize Alexa. In fact, I know I say her occasionally, but I prefer to say it or something like that.
I pronounced that hurricane,
Alexa.
but I'm always working on how I say things, and I might not have it right.
Alexa, stop. But yeah, I feel like it's funny. Don't get me wrong. I think that's a funny commercial, but I don't know that I love that humanizing message. But I get where they're coming from, right? Like, this is a really cool shape for a device. What other shapes could it come in? And the idea that it comes in the shape of Michael B. Jordan is pretty cool. But it also, like, I don't know, I'm torn on that one, I think. Good question, though, Karthik. Good question. All right, so I have my session count. I have my first session. I have my log that I need to do here. So what we need to do is then catch that value in my interceptor. Alexa and Michael Scott's body. Yeah, now you're talking, because it's not objectifying. Now it's just funny. I mean, I think the commercial's funny, but I think that I don't love the objectification of anyone. I think that's it's a little weird. Okay, so I have some interceptors, and the request interceptor is the one that catches the incoming data and then does some interesting things with it. And so we have is first time. What am I doing with this? Oh, that's so I can do some speech. I wonder what your person ID would be if you started trivia, which has happened a couple of times. Well, I would get a person ID, but it would have to be some unique generic one. Or no, because it didn't recognize me, you wouldn't get a person ID. Major Lift, I know we've talked about using person ID in the past and personalization. I've had many conversations with the person ID team inside Amazon, and they are, let's just say they've added some issues to their log that will hopefully help us work with that in a better way. But I think the expected behavior for developers is that you use person ID if you have it, and if you don't, then you fall back to user ID. But the problem I have with like this game is that you have all this rich history and data and information that I'm aggregating around whatever your unique ID is. And if I don't have that, then I don't have any of your data. And the example I used with them is, let's say I built a shopping app, right? Like a grocery shopping app. And when I'm at home, I'm like, add butter, add milk, add cheese, whatever. Those are all dairy somehow. I must have dairy on the brain. And then you get to the grocery store. Well, you don't necessarily want to talk to your device while you're in the grocery store. You want to use like the keyboard mode or something like that, or have an app where you can go look at it. But if I use the keyboard mode, it doesn't provide me the person ID, so I can't actually get to that data that way. So it's a couple of things like that that are just things that we need to figure out and work on. But for this, for my session ID, we need to, if that value is true, which we can do right here. So we have session attributes and we have handler input. So we should be able to just say if handler input dot session, no, request envelope dot session. And now I want to make sure I get that right. It's here. Session.new is true. And I think it's always there, but we'll put some safety in there just in case. Session.new is true. Then we're going to do a thing. This is going to be data, and this is going to be put user session. And in there, all I need is the user ID. We can use this to get it. Now that I'm using that user ID a couple of different times, no, I think that's okay. We'll just continue to use that. We're not making any additional calls or anything. But I need this put user session function. So if we look at one of our other data functions, we have put category instance, put question instance. So we can use this as our example. Let's save as. And we're going to say put user session .js. Okay. First thing to do is this. And this is just going to take a user ID. That's all we need. Everything else will be handled. And then this is going to go in user session. That should be it. I think everything else here is good. We just pass in the user ID. It's all we care about. And then we need to add to our index, put user session. Like that. And down here, put user session. Okay. So assuming that I didn't introduce any bugs, which I think I didn't, then when we look at our request interceptor, if session is new, and I'll even slap a question mark on that just in case, but if session is new, then we're going to put a new user session. That should work. Take care, Karthik. Thanks for being here, man. All right, so this gets us what we want. Let's restart our service, and we'll try to start a new session here. And let's see what we get. Come on. Let's do it. Let's go. You very clearly got it. Something break? Is wait, invalid record ID. So we did break something. Is not a valid record ID. Okay. What? Put user session. Oh, because that's what it is. That's not what I want.
The requested skill took too long to respond.
I see. No, I was just mistaken in how I was thinking about this data. So what we actually want to do, we have to get the user's actual record ID. Which we could do right here. What we can do instead of this, we just need to do session attributes user.fields.record ID. Okay, so this should do it. So what I was doing is I was grabbing the Amazon, I was grabbing the Amazon identifier, not my database identifier, which is what I needed. So I was just grabbing the wrong value. This should do now. Let's try that again. So open the game. We should see session is new.
Welcome to TKO Trivia.
Which means we should have a new record in here. And we do. Awesome. So now I have a session count of 2. So what this means, though, is that what shouldn't happen is if I say, give me a sports question, this should not add a 3rd record.
Here is a question from the sports and games.
Because it's false now.
What rap song did the Chicago Bears record before their appearance in Super Bowl 20?
And so we can see that we are not logging an additional value here because it's not a new session. But if we come back and we say something like stop.
Catch you on the rebound.
And then we say open trivia game. This should give us a new session.
Welcome to TKO Trivia.
Which it does. Which it does. And so then we have a new record there. So now we're able to do a bunch of stuff now that we have this information. The first is we know when the user's first session was. But we also know how many sessions they've had. So we can say, oh, this is the 3rd time you've played. Or if we wanted to do, I wonder if we could do a unique days. That would be a little trickier, but I think we can do this. How would we do that? I would love the database to solve this problem for me automatically, but I don't think that there's an easy way to do this. Because if you look at my session data, these are all 3 the same day. So if I wanted to do things like daily streaks, I would have to be able to identify the unique days that they have records here. And then once I know the unique days, I think so, Major Lift. I think what we're trying to accomplish is recognizing daily streaks. And the daily streak technically would be triggered the moment they open the skill, whether or not they actually answered any questions or played the daily game or any of that stuff. It's just that they came back, which is the behavior we want to encourage. We want people to build habits around their skills. We want them to come back and use them regularly. And so one of the ways we can do that is through these kinds of achievements for streaks. So I think that's fine. We have our sessions. We also have this question instance, and this has a timestamp on it also. So we can very easily come in and see when was the last time that they actually did a question. So I have that data too if I really want to play with it. But for sessions, I think I just want to know how many times have they started the skill. And technically, if you wanted to sit there and say, open the game, stop, open the game, stop, open the game, stop, you could do that. That's fine. Go max out some achievements for yourself. If that's what you want, that's fine. But I feel like there's not a lot of reward in all of this. I haven't even come up with a point system yet, but we're going to have to come up with a point system. And yeah, we'll have to think about how this is all going to work. Days played is an array. If array includes today, if array includes today is false, then push today to the array. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know that I need to go down that path yet, but I was trying to think of a way to do this without getting into my code ice cream. what I'd like to do is structure this in a way where it can just there's another column, right, that is daily streak or whatever, and it's calculated like these are. Like this session count, this isn't a number that I'm incrementing. What it's doing is basing it on the number of records that are in this table. The same goes for question count, right? This is the number of question instance records I have for that user. So it would be cool to be able to figure out a way to do some sort of aggregation. Oh man, some sort of aggregation right here in the user table rather than having to calculate it every time I come in to my code. I mean, we could certainly do that, but I'm trying to, at least initially, try to avoid that. But anyway, that's not the point of today. Today is to get a bunch of these achievements rolling. And so in my issue list, if we look at this, I've added some new things to it. So let's check a few boxes. Build an achievement engine. I think this is done. I think the achievement engine itself, not all of the achievements, but the engine itself is there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this one as closed. And that feels good. One of the other things, I have 3 other achievements we can add in here. And then we had a couple of other things that we really want to do, like these 2 probably could be labeled as enhancement. These are things that the skill needs to do. Yeah, I'm with you, Major Lift. I think I could probably spend the rest of our session here, though, trying to solve that specific issue. So that's one of those Airtable things, like this session stuff. I set the data stuff up early, and then we come in and build the application and consume it. So I will play with it. I mean, they have all of those kinds of functions, so it should be pretty easy. And then I'd have one field that has all of the unique dates. The problem is that I kind of want to stop once there's a gap, and I think identifying a gap will be an issue. Probably something I'm going to have to do on the code side. But at least if I aggregate all those dates together, I technically already have that in this user session table. I could very easily just pull out the unique set of values from here. But I'm thinking if there's a way to identify a gap or a way to identify some kind of rule that I could provide on top of that, that would make life super easy. Okay, so we're now tracking our sessions. We need to add a new achievement. So let's call this. The codes behind the scenes don't matter to the user. I'll think about the language for this, but we can just call this session 5. We don't want to do this for their first time. Like, hey, congratulations, you got an achievement for opening the skill for the first time. That feels weird. So we'll do. This is the 5th time you've opened TKO Trivia. And then we'll do an ENUS. We could do a session 2. Maybe that would be cool, just to let them know that these achievements work. Welcome back. This is the 2nd time you've played TKO. We can also sort these. Okay, next one. ENUS. Session 10. This is the, no. 10 times, no, not 10 times. 10 times you've played TKO Trivia. 10 times now. Nice work. Let's do another one. These numbers are eventually, I'm going to scale them up to at least 100. And then as people approach those, we can add more. Session 5. This is going to be, you have now played TKO Trivia 25 times. Okay. All of that seems good. We'll just do 25 for now because we've got to add these to our application. Then we've got to add them to the logic. And this is probably going to force my hand on breaking some of these switch statements out. So let's jump back in here. The first thing that we want to do is come into our achievements file, which is here. We need to add our new achievements. So we have questions answered 10. We should probably have 1 and 5 in here as well. Okay, and then we're going to add a few new ones, which are session 2, session 5, session 10, and session 25. And then I guess we'll just do it this way, const we can just take that. Like so. Okay, so we have our string values that we use for those codes. I know they match the constants exactly, but it makes it easier to find these things as you're looking for them, and you know whether or not one's missing instead of just passing strings in and hoping for the best. So get specific achievement. No, not award achievements. Where is the file that I want? Which is get achievements speech. Okay, so we're getting now to the point where we want to. I think I'm going to create a whole new folder for this, because I am making that call out. But I think it'll simplify this file a lot, because this thing's about to get really crazy. So let's create a whole new folder inside Lambda called achievement. Inside there, of course, we'll need an index.js. But then we will also need all of these different kinds of, so this is correct count. So I think we should probably name these after the property that they're rewarding achievements off of. So we'll take that name and we'll come into achievement and we'll create a new file called correctCount.js. And in here, we're going to have an async function called correctCount, and it's going to take count. But I mean, that's all we really care about, I think. And a locale. And a locale. Okay. And in there, we are going to export it. And add it to our index. Okay, so that gives us this new correct count file. And then in here, we should be able to take this as such. And what are we doing? We're doing achievement array.push. And we were just pushing the results of this get specific achievement. So that still works. It's just that I could push back. Well, I wouldn't be pushing back multiple. So now it just looks like this. It's going to be achievement array.push await achievement dot what did we call that new file? Correct count. And here we're going to put our user.fields.correctCount and our locale. So that's going to be the one line that we have here. These are the lines that we will have living here that will identify each of the different values that we want to run achievements off of. But then we take this and we chop it out And we come into correct count. This is where our switch lives. So now this becomes count, the new value that we just passed in. We need access to get specific achievements. So the way we were doing that over here was get specific achievement like this, but we're in a different place now. So I think we could probably just bring in data. Data, that's great. And then this becomes data that gets specific achievements. Okay, and then this is going to be the code. So this is data. And we have our locale, which we just passed in. So the last thing that we need to do is just, instead of this, we just need to return. And this structure does assume that we can only have one of these at a time, which makes sense. You wouldn't have your first correct answer and your fifth correct answer at the same time. So that structure looks good. This structure looks good. Let's give it a go. Whoa. Kant's question answered. Did I screw an achievement up? Nope, not that one. This one. Oh, yeah. Okay. Try that again. Go. Go, go, go. Working. So good. Okay, so now we're gonna give me a nature question. Don't break.
This is a fun nature question for you. Growing up to nearly 350 pounds, what is the most massive bird in the world?
We're gonna say ostrich, and it should. I don't care if I get the achievement. What I care about is that it doesn't break.
Whoops.
Huh.
It looks like one of our programmers broke something. I will let them know and have them fix it.
Cannot
as
read
soon as
property
possible.
correct count of
In the
undefined.
meantime, would you like to ask for a random question or start a new quiz?
This is just a reference thing, I think. Get achievement speech. Where are you? Okay. So the catch here is that I didn't include achievement. And this is getting a little confusing. I'm going to have to work on that. Const achievement equals achievement. But it is, it's right here. What are you talking about? Well, that's a sign that this is not going to work, but I want to see why.
Here is a question from the nature category.
It appears our trivia questions are better than our programmers.
Cannot read correct count of undefined.
I'm so sorry about that. You could start a quiz
Because
or
of
ask for a
that.
question. What should I do?
A thing I don't even need. I had a variable right here. That's why. Okay, that was it. I just had a variable already declared. It would have been nice for them to tell me that. That'd have been great.
I picked a tricky nature question this time.
Oops. It looks like one of
Okay.
our programmers broke something.
Getting angry.
I will let them know.
Cannot
and
read
have them
property
fix it as soon
fields
as
of
possible.
undefined
In the meantime, would you like to ask for a random question
on
or start a new
line
quiz?
30. What? We're on line 30 here. Cannot read property fields of undefined. My user exists. The user has 3 achievements. So achievement exists. So if not achievement, what? You're saying that fields doesn't exist, which means you think user doesn't exist. I don't get that. Cannot read property fields of undefined. Get achievement speech line 30. Get achievement speech line 30 is this one. Oh, I see. Maybe there were no achievements and it doesn't like, no, but it says line, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It says, oh, 81. So it's probably this. So when I get my correct count, I'm returning a specific achievement. Oh, yeah, that's all right. And this should add it to that array. So this is a getting data into our array issue. It looks like. And here we can have a default. I see. I wonder if I need to do. Yeah, see, before, I wasn't doing the achievement array push until I had a value, right? Like I'm doing it here as I get my value. So with this situation, I'm automatically adding it to the array. So I almost need like a secondary step here, because I don't want to push it into the array if I don't have anything. So we can say like const correct count this. And we can say if achievement array push. I think that gets me back to good, because the problem we were running into is it's not really a bug. It was that we were pushing things into the array that didn't have the right data. I mean, I guess that is a bug, but we were getting to a point where that's actually working. So now we should only be putting things into the array for correct count when there's actually an achievement. Let's try that. Give me a nature question again. Something I haven't heard before.
This is a fun nature question for you.
Okay, so that was our issue.
Wowza. You got that one right. The answer was cardinal. The cardinal is the state bird of Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia, and North Carolina. What should we do this time?
All right, so we didn't get an achievement, but I didn't expect to get an achievement. Let's see what my correct count is. It's 13. Let's reset that. We can just get 4 of these gone. Now my correct count is 9. So now we should actually be able to get a correct achievement. If I say, give me a nature question, and I get it right.
I picked a tricky nature question this time.
Let's see if we actually get our achievement.
Whoops.
Oh,
It
see?
looks like one of our programmers. broke
Always something else.
I will let them know and have them fix it as soon as possible. In the meantime, would you like to ask for a random question or start a new quiz?
Accessing non-existent property, get specific achievement. So this is another one where I probably just need to pass something in. But I want to get around this a slightly different way. Cannot read property correct. Well, let's start there. Correct answer is 10 of undefined. And it's because we're bringing data in. So we could do this. And then we'll also need this one. Get around this. So we'll take our data away. I was thinking that I could get away with this, but nope. Okay. See if that doesn't solve. Well, cannot find module. Now. Cool. Okay. So we look at our data, it's 10, so we can go to question instance, mark another one wrong, and do this. Give me a sports question.
This is a fun sports and games question for you. Tennis player won 6 consecutive wins. Oh snap. You got that one.
And we're getting our achievement.
The answer was Martina Navratilova. That was your 10th correct answer.
Yes.
What would you like to do now?
I like when things
You
work.
can start today's game or ask for a trivia question.
Okay. So we were able to extract our correct count value, create a small, that's really awesome. So we were able to take, from Get Achievement Speech, we were able to take this whole chunk, this whole case statement, rip it out, replace it with these 2 lines right here, and now we can broaden that as much as we want, and it's just going to live in its own file. So we're going to do the same thing with answer count. So let's take this and save it as, and get all the plumbing done. So this is going to be answer count. And we got to fix a couple things. So this is going to be answer count. This is going to be different achievements. Achievements dot questions answered 1. Achievements dot questions answered 5. This is why I like using those constants. Questions answered 10. No, 10. Cool. So that's great. I don't really need the default anymore now that I'm not adding it to the array automatically. We should also do that for correct count. Get rid of that default state. Although we could, yeah, no, let's bring it back, because what we should do here is say return undefined. This will, at least then we're returning our promise, which is something we should do. So not promise, return undefined. Okay. So answer count now exists. This needs to be answer count. I feel like I have something on my clipboard of some value. I'm incorrect. Okay. We need to add it to this. Counts this. Require answer count. And let's make them alphabetical. Okay. Count the thing. We just pass in count locale every time. But we have the correct achievements and stuff and numbering and all that. So get achievement speech. This can just go away based on answer count. And then this can be answer count, answer count, answer count, answer count. Okay. I like how this is working out now. Now we have easy ways to build in additional modules of achievements, which we'll do with the session count here in just a second. But now we have a pretty simple file too for looking at how we're grabbing all that speech. We've kind of broken the individual pieces apart. Give me a science question, please.
This is a fun science question for you.
No bugs, no errors, no issues. Nice.
Hurrah. You got that one right. The answer was equinox. You can say something like, give me a science question, or you can start today's game. What will it be?
So we'll delete all the records this time. And this should give us an achievement. I'll get it wrong. And this should give us the achievement. This should give us the question answered. You completed your first question. And you answered your, well, actually, we'll get both. Because both of those should land at the same time. The first time you get an answer correct. So let's try it. Give me a sports question. This is now technically my first question. You can see it popping in here.
Here is a question from the sports and games
Cool.
category.
Code It Live, bringing folks in. Thank you. And deliveries. Welcome everybody that's rating from Code It Live. I am Jeff Blankenberg, and I'm here.
Are you following me?
Look at that. We got a follow from Brable0815. We are building a Alexa trivia game. So there's lots and lots of data that flows back and forth. What is my answer? We got to get this answer right. So we're testing right now an achievement engine that we've been working on. And in this achievement engine, we're doing things like how many questions you got right, how many questions you got wrong, how many questions you've answered, regardless of right or wrong. All of that stuff is being boiled in here. And so we're going to hopefully unlock 2 achievements at once by getting this question right. And the question was, how many lettered dice are there in a standard game of Boggle? So I'm going to say 16 as my answer. And we should, if I'm not the worst programmer on earth, we should get 2 achievements out of this. Let's see.
Ka-ching. You got that one right. The answer was 16. You completed your first question. You can say something like, give me a science question, or you can start today's game.
Interesting.
What will it be?
So I completed my first question, but I also got my first correct answer, which is here, correct count. So I wonder why it didn't give me both. Because my correct count is 1 in my data. So it's very interesting to me that it didn't give me both of them. I wonder if I'm not overwriting anything. Hey Ed, thanks for the visit. Thanks for the raid, man. Much appreciated. It's always good to see you. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk in person soon. I don't know why we didn't get both achievements though. That's the interesting part to me. You completed your first question, came through, which technically would have been checked second. So are we overwriting? I don't think so. We're just pushing stuff into an array. Here it is. No, achievement speech is right here. Achievement speech is nothing. Then we come in here and we loop through each of our achievements. Oh, Ed, you're absolutely right. Star Trek has to be virtual if we want to do it in May. I don't see another way around that. We've been talking about this since before Halloween, about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And we really had grand aspirations that we might be able to do something in person, but we think that's just still being irresponsible. And it costs a lot of money to rent a venue. And we don't think that we would necessarily have people wanting to spend the money to offset the cost of that venue. So our plan for Star Trek is that we're going to do a virtual event on May 7th, but we hope maybe we could slide in an in-person event in the fall, maybe October, November, and then reset again in May of 2022. That's our optimistic, fingers crossed kind of plan. We'll see if that actually happens, but that's what we're thinking. We had a large number of people that let us keep their money from 2020 and just hold on to it for the next event. And so we want to make sure that we're delivering on that entire promise. So the event we're doing this May is free. It won't use up anybody's money like that. Sponsors that gave us money and let us keep it, we'll save that for a bigger event. But we're excited to make the announcement. We're excited to still do something because it sucked last May to do nothing. So this will be a good opportunity to see what we can do virtually and maybe offer hybrid stuff in the future. Anyway, thank you, Ed. Okay, I don't actually know why we're not getting this. So what I'm going to do here is just log out my achievement array, and we're gonna see what's inside there. There should be 2 elements. 100% there should be 2. So let's go back to our data, take our question instance, and get rid of the one record I have. If I get it right, I should get 2 achievements. 1 for answering my first question, 1 for getting it right. So let's try that again. Give me a nature question.
Here is a question from the nature category. In the film Finding Nemo, what kind of fish is Nemo?
It's a clownfish. Give me both achievements.
Yowza. You got that one right. The answer was clownfish. What would you like to do now?
You answered your first question correctly, is one of them. And then the second one is you completed your first question. Well, that's interesting. Why? What are we doing? And we're logging those achievements for the user, right? Did we log both achievements? User achievement. We did log the achievement, but we didn't tell the user about it. What we said was we didn't tell them at all. We didn't say anything. So there's got to be something wrong with my logic here where I am compiling the speech that tells the user what's going on. So what I do is I take achievement speech, which is just an empty string when we get here. And the first thing that I do is add that to the voice response that I have. The brand new one, the thing that I want to say. Let's do this. We should be able to see all this. Console.log. This is just a string, but achievement speech. Okay. So if we do that, Nemo was a lost fish. That is true. He was a lost fish. That would not be a correct answer, Ed, but it is true. Okay, achievement speech. We're gonna, each time we loop through here, we're gonna do that, and then we write it out when we're done. Like that's how this is supposed to work. We're doing the achievement sound. We're doing the achievement speech. So let me go delete the achievement records for myself. We can get rid of all of my achievements, and my question instance goes away. So now we're more or less a fresh user. I've never been asked a question. I have a few sessions, but I've never actually asked a question. I have no achievements. So if we do this, I also need to, I need to fix one thing. Where's my get user file? Hey, Chris, welcome, man. Good morning. We'll get your music here in a second. There it is, rocking out. Rocking it. I have a value in here I need to, no, it's not this one. Get specific achievement. There it is. That is a piece of code I use when I need to see what URL I'm actually passing to my database to get. Stir Trek is going to be virtual. Yeah, we're scaling it down a little bit this year, doing something. We feel like we want to do something, but it's probably going to be on a slightly smaller scale. Like a slightly more than half-day event virtually. We don't think that anyone's going to sit and watch 8, 10, 12 hours of content in one day. So we're doing, I think we're going to go like 6 or 8 hours, short sessions, probably 25 max. And we're hoping people will tune in and check it out. So we'll see. All right, so that's fixed. Let's close that file. So we care about what's coming through here with achievement speech. Let's try this again. Give me a nature question. This is my first question. First question ever, right there,
This
data.
is a fun nature question for you.
And the answer to this question is 62.
Rounded to the nearest whole number, how many pounds does 1 cubic foot of water?
So if I get this right, we should see an achievement. Maybe. Okay, there we go.
Cha-ching. You got that one
So I'm going to get an achievement.
The answer was 62 pounds. You answered your first question correctly. You completed your first question. What would you like to do now?
Okay. That gave me both of them. You can see here, you answered your first question correctly. You completed your first question. Those are both achievements. The only time you're going to get both of these is if you happen to get the very first trivia question you ever are asked correct. But it's nice to be able to have those stacked together. But what I'd like to do is have a lead in here. I play this nice noise, and then I should be able to say something like, you got 2 achievements or something like that. So we're going to have to tweak that up a little bit. I have this achievement array that has a length. So what I should be able to do is say, if achievement speech doesn't equal nothing, then we're going to go get a new value out of our speech table. So we're going to say const achievement count speech. And for now, we'll just make one up. You just unlocked. Let's get some fanciness in here. Okay, so we're going to say this is going to be achievement array dot length. You just unlocked 2 achievements. Space. And then we have achievement sound. We'll do achievement count speech right here. And I can't have achievements. Because I wouldn't want to say, you just unlocked 1 achievement. So this has to be conditional. If achievement array.length is 1, then no, there's no particular reason. That's more a laziness than anything, Catal. That's a good question. It's just my old brain still uses that. The double not equals is a relatively new concept where you're matching not only value but object type. And I just sometimes forget about that because forever ever in JavaScript, I always just used exclamation point equals to say not equal to, which just does a comparison on the value. And I still sometimes just forget to stay in that habit. But what we want to do here is say let achievement Yeah, Robert, I'm with you. That I'm trying to be better about it. It's just one of those things that I forget sometimes. So if this is true, then achievement count speech equals you just unlocked an achievement. Otherwise, achievement count speech, you unlocked 4 achievements or whatever. It's unlikely you're going to have many. Yeah, Robert, you're right. They did build it in like 17 days. It was very, very quick. At least the initial versions. I've read a lot of the history around how JavaScript was created and what it was for. And it was just like one dude over a weekend that put it together. Very interesting. Okay, so this should say you unlocked 2 achievements. And then it should tell me what they are. Yes, it does, Katal. I should have a linter running, but I don't. There's so much I could be doing. Okay, let's come back to user achievement. Get rid of my values. Question instance, get rid of these. And now clean. Okay, so we should be able to answer a question correctly. It should tell us how many achievements we got. And there's always so much to do, Archon. Hey, good to see you, by the way.
I picked a tricky nature question this time.
There he is.
How many pounds does 1 cubic foot of water weigh? Is it 22 pounds, 42 pounds, 62 pounds, or 82 pounds?
The answer is 62 pounds. So I should get my little sound, and then I should get both. You got 2 achievements, and then I should get the 2 achievements listed out.
Boom. You got that one right. The answer was 62 pounds. You just unlocked 2 achievements. You answered your first question correctly. You completed your first question. What would you like to do now? You can start today's game or ask for a trivia question.
All right, so there's another cool thing that I'd like to do with this as I think about it. There's a priority order to achievements that I hadn't really given much consideration to till right now. So if we think about our achievements, we have the number you've gotten correct and the number you've answered. It feels like from a priority order, the answered should go first, right? So we get the answer count, then we get the number you got correct, and then there's some others that probably don't matter, but when we're talking about questions, I think I should say like, hey, this is the 10th question you've answered, and the 5th one you've gotten correct if you had 2 achievements at the same time. This just made me think of another enhancement for our skill, which is user should be correct answers, percentages, and position on a potential leaderboard. So we'll put that in here. We'll label it as a enhancement. And that adds another one, which is we should have a leaderboard on our website. Okay. Couple more things added to our queue. Let's see if we can take anything else off. Number of unique days played, anniversary of your first play date. We haven't done any of those yet. Haven't done this. Users should be able to ask for their stats. We haven't. So all of those are still valid things that we need to work on, which is great. So let's do the session count. Unlikely we would get. This is only going to happen like when you get into the skill. So we'll do session count. And all of that is good. So now we just need to come into achievement, add a new file, go into my index, add it here. And then in here, we need to do whatever we've done in these other ones. And then did we add those achievements to our system yet? I don't actually know if we did. Devil's Footprint, thank you for the philosophy. Session 2, 5, 10, and 25. I'll just bring these over so that I remember them. And it is not correct count. Session count. Okay. Here we go. This needs to be session 2, 2, 5, 10, and then we have a 25 also. Probably make my life a little easier if I lose my break statements, since I am returning out of it. You just do that. Make this a little bit cleaner. This is where linters get angry at me because I'm doing formatting that is not typical. Okay, so session 2, and then this is just going to be dot 5. And finally, session 25. Okay, this can all go away. We have session count. 2, 5, 10, 25, 2, 5, 10, 25. The number of sessions that I have in the database right now, session count of 3. So we'll delete 1. No, we'll delete 2. We'll quit our session. Restart our application. Everything seems to be working. Good. Good, good, good. Let's open the skill. See if we get an achievement.
This is TKO Trivia.
We didn't get an achievement. Why does it think my session count is 3? What? I have 2 sessions. Oh, right. Yeah, Major Lift, I'm with you. That's one of the biggest problems I've had with Prettier is that it exerts too much control on what I'm trying to do. But I probably just need to spend a little more time thinking about what I want a linter to do for me and find one that does the right job. Okay, session count is going to be inaccurate because if we go to our request interceptor, we're putting our user session here. But we get our user data here. So we can fudge this and say session attributes that user.fields dot session count. That should do it. Because I'm going and getting my user record here because I need to know what their record ID is. Then I'm calling to the database to log their new session, which is too late because I already have my user record. So my option is either call back to the database and get a new user record, which feels crazy heavy. Or I need to just fake it. And then when I loop around the next time, it'll be handled by itself. So we'll fake it. So if I look at my session count, let's take one of these away. And now when we come in, I mean, this should be right now. Open the game.
This is TKO Trivia.
Did I get is there a bug that I'm not seeing? No. Oh, I know what it is. If we look at I got to close all these files. Let's just close it.
Are you following me?
Paulo Basato, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. We've got to be really close, gang. I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to this lately, but we've got to be close to 700 followers, I think. $696. So welcome, Paulo. 696. We're 4 away from 700 followers. And if any of you new folks that were here from the raid want to jump on board, we're so close. 4 people away from 700. Awesome. Okay, this is TKO Trivia. The problem I have here is that I'm not checking for achievements at this moment. So it wouldn't matter what the number is. So what I need to do is go into my handler for launch request. And in my launch request, I need to check for achievements like I do in the answer intent. So in here, I'm just doing this. Const achievement speech, like so. This is going to go get all of the achievements that have been unlocked right now. This should be in pretty much every handler. So if I go back into launch request, we can do this right here. That's going to get my achievement speech. And this is going to be const welcome.
Why are you following me?
3 away. 3 away. Manoj, thank you so much. 3 away. That's my welcome. And then speak output, we can do our standard array trick, which is we will have welcome, and then we'll have achievement speech. And we'll do a dot join on a space so that we put spaces in between each value. Okay, let's see if that gets us what we're looking for. Back to data, back to deleting my session. User has a session count of 1. What we care about is a session count of 2. So in here, we have our code in our launch request. If we say start a new session, it should give me an achievement now, or an error, or an error. Could be an error.
This is TKO Trivia.
Oh, yes.
You just unlocked 3 achievements. Welcome back. This is the second time you've played TKO Trivia.
Oh. It said I have 3 achievements. The reason that it said that is because I have 3 achievements. So I still have a slight bit of logic when I say get achievement speech. It can't be this. It can't be the achievement array.length. It needs to be a new counter. I need a new counter inside my loop where it actually generates the speech and all that. So we should be able to just do that like right here. New achievement count plus plus, and then this here, instead of the length, if it's equal to 1, this is actually new achievement count that I care about. I actually care about this here. So we don't really need this. And we don't really need this. So that new achievement count will only count the actual achievements that I've unlocked. So let's go back and go one more time. We'll get rid of, these are user achievements. We'll get rid of all of them. And we'll see how this all works. Question instance, we'll get rid of that. User session, we'll get rid of those. We'll get rid of one of them. And our user looks like that. Okay, so start a new session. And let's open the trivia game.
Welcome to TKO Trivia. You just unlocked an achievement. Welcome back. This is the second time you've played TKO Trivia.
And the other thing we're missing there is a, what do you want to do now? So let's tweak that in as we've got it. That's in launch request. We do that in a lot of other places. Question intent. We have this thing called a action query. On our launch request, we can do the same. And then we just need action query to be there. Not going to worry about testing that for now. That'll work. But this is the second time you've played TKO Trivia. What would you like to do now? Or let's do this thing or whatever. That was cool. So let's give me a question. Because I've never asked a question before.
Here is a question from the sports and games category.
Wimbledon is the correct
Following
answer.
are 3 of the
2 achievements. 2 achievements.
Yowza. You got that one right. The answer was Wimbledon. They are the 4 tournaments in the Grand Slam of tennis. You just unlocked 3 achievements. You completed your first question. You answered your first question correctly. You can say something like, give me a science question, or you can start today's game. What will it be?
What? You just unlocked 3 achievements. We just solved this. Here, you just unlocked new achievement count. That only happens if we're actually writing a speech out for it. I wonder if it's just that I didn't restart this code. We're going to try that one more time just to validate. But I feel like that should just have worked. That doesn't feel like something's broken. Okay. Here we go. Open the game. Let's do this.
This is TKO Trivia. A trivia game with 20 different categories that will knock you out. You just unlocked an achievement. Welcome back. This is the second time you've played TKO
Cool.
Trivia.
And now we have our question at the end.
What would you like to do now? You can start today's game or ask for a trivia question.
Okay, that's great. I got my achievement. Now give me a sports question, and I'm going to get it right. And you should say that I have unlock
This
2
is a fun
achievements.
Sports and games
2.
question for you.
Ravens.
What in a
2 achievements. That's what we're going for here.
righto? You got that one right. The answer was Baltimore Ravens. The team is named after the poem The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, a Baltimore resident.
2.
You just unlocked 2 achievements. You completed your first question. You answered your first question correctly. What would you like to do now?
Yes. Okay. This feels awesome. This also feels like a good stopping point. So we have our achievement engine running. We have new achievements that we've introduced. We've got a new structure for our achievements so that the get achievement speech is just these basic modules for being able to call out and check achievements against specific values in the user object. We have more that we can do. I'll leave some comments here. Other achievement ideas. We have base first play. Bigger numbers up to 100 for existing achievements. You guys have any other achievements in mind? Things that you think as we go through this trivia game? Oh, we could do categorical achievements. How many science questions they've gotten correct, for example. What other data do I have in my user? Like, I can't do percentages because those will fluctuate over time. So like, it's good that I have these percentages, but I don't actually want to do anything off of those. I have question count. I have answer count. I could do something around question count, which is how many questions have you been asked? That doesn't mean you've answered all of them. It just means that I have posed the question to you. And then we have a bunch of other junky like record data out there. So we'll have more once we start doing events. We will definitely have more once we start doing events because that's a daily event. You'll score points. We'll have a point thing. Hey, you just got to 200, like whatever. We'll do a lot of that. Is there anything else that stands out as obvious to any of you that should be an additional achievement we would put in here, at least right now? I think the categorical thing, I'm going to have to do some work on that, but I think we can do it. I wish I could do things like interruptions, like how many questions you've answered before the timer ran out, but I don't get to know that. What about questions answered correctly in the same day? Like, you've answered 23 questions today. That's a new record for you. That might be pretty cool. And we could also pull out like whoever happens to be leading that. So I think we can chop a couple or at least one issue off of here. Achievement, number of new sessions for a user. Closed. We can also work on what was my last achievement. So we can build in some things for what was the most recent achievement I got? Or what achievements have I completed? We'll add that as another one. Those are different. No. How many achievements have I completed? Okay. Should there be a leaderboard for points and achievements? Like, could you be somebody that's chasing achievements over points at a different leaderboard? All things to think about. All right. Well, for now, let's go find a raid. We're gonna go jump on Code Rush. He has one person watching him right now, so we're gonna give him a nice surprise. So all of you, all 25 of you or so, we're gonna head over. Consecutive questions, correct? Oh, that's a great one. Let's add that. New issue. That's a really good one. All right, so we're gonna go. It's weird. It seems like the raid isn't working. Try that again. Raid channel, Code Rushed, start raid. You guys all clicking in? I don't know if you have to do that or not, but it doesn't seem to be working. Maybe he's blocking raids. Let's see if we can go to. We can go check out. Let's go see what Lana's doing. Is that one going to work? No, that's weird. It's like it's not letting me raid. Huh. All right. Well, we'll hit raid now and we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you guys all for tuning in. I'll be back here again tomorrow. I won't be here Friday. I'm actually going to be on a different channel, so I'll make sure to promote that. On the Code It Live channel, we're going to do an interview where I get to be the person interviewed, which would be kind of cool. So I'll be here tomorrow, though. We'll get some stuff done, and I'll see you all then. Thank you guys all so much.